What are the long-term effects of religious trauma, and how can we recognize them in ourselves and others? And are you ready to embark on a journey of healing from religious trauma? Let's get started and find out together. Welcome back, everyone, to the Joy Without Justification podcast. We are your one-stop spot for finding peace, purpose, and presence. No explanation is needed. I'm your host, Denny.
And I'm Dan. So today, I'm going to be opening up about something deeply personal, and that's religious trauma syndrome. It's a term many might not be familiar with, but for those who've experienced it, the effects are life-changing.
And we're not just talking about leaving a religion or losing faith. We're talking about lasting impact of fear, guilt, and control of your sense of self.
Exactly. So in this episode, I'm going to share some of my journey through religious trauma syndrome, or RTS, and how it shaped me and what I've learned in the process. And if you've ever felt trapped by your past beliefs, you are not alone.
So let's get started with what RTS is. Can you explain how it shows up in people's lives?
Sure. It's a psychological term for the emotional and mental harm caused by authoritarian religions or oppressive spiritual practices. It's not just about having a bad experience in church. It's about how those experiences get under your skin and into your identity.
So what kind of symptoms are we talking about?
They vary. Anxiety, depression, low self-esteem, trust issues. It's a long list. For me, it was this constant fear of rejection and being wrong and of somehow failing the expectations drilled into me. So even after I left, that fear kind of lingered.
And it's not just about losing a belief system, it's about losing a part of yourself.
Right? Exactly. So when your whole identity is tied up to a belief system, stepping away feels like losing the foundation of who you are. And oftentimes you lose relationships too, because if you step away from that particular faith, those friendships and relationships you made, they stop as well.
So let's dive into your story then. What was it like growing up in a religious environment?
Well, I was raised in a strict fundamentalist church, and on the surface it looked like a tight-knit community, but underneath it was really about control, what you thought, what you did, and even what you felt. So yeah, it was pretty insane.
So what were some of the rules or beliefs that shaped your experience?
Okay, well, we were taught we're the only church. Everything was a sin. And I mean, pretty much everything. Wearing shorts was a sin. Wearing sometimes short sleeve shirts. Wearing any kind of jewelry. Music, unless it was the church hymnals. For me, no high school dances. No homecomings. You weren't allowed to go to movies. Rapture fear, like intense rapture fear. So, I remember being afraid, like, of any kind of nuclear disaster, because that's what they taught was going to usher in the rapture.
And so you've shared before that being gay added another layer to this.
So, yeah, being told that who I was deep down was not just wrong, but evil. So, I mean, I was younger there. I was, not completely out. I was junior high and early high school, but I spent years trying to suppress who I was because, I thought I could pray it away. And when it wouldn't go away, I used to pray to God to just take my life because I couldn't stop those feelings. And if he just killed me, then I would be free from it.
Oh. How did that affect your relationships?
Well, there, I was terribly isolated. Technically, we weren't supposed to have friends unless they were part of the faith. And then being gay, I felt like I couldn't be honest with anyone. So I pushed people away because I was scared. They'd see the real me and reject me. And even now I catch myself, still kind of seeking validation. Like I need someone else to tell me I'm okay.
So then that brings us to the big question. What are the long-term effects of religious trauma?
Well, they can be different for everyone. But for me, I had a lot of anxiety. And even after leaving, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't doing enough or being enough. PTSD, OCD. I mean, I had all that stuff, as you know, and it stays with you for a long time.
What about guilt?
Oh, God, yes. Guilt was like a shadow. And even now, I sometimes feel like I'm betraying my family or community by even speaking out about it. And trust issues. Let's just say that when the people who are supposed to guide you manipulate your emotions, trusting anyone becomes difficult, even yourself.
So it sounds like it's also affected your sense of identity.
Oh, absolutely. So I spent years trying to figure out who I was without the framework of my religion. What do I believe? What do I value? And those are hard questions to answer when you've been told what to think for your whole life, or what you're allowed to think, what you're allowed to learn.
Yeah. So how did you start to heal?
The first step was admitting that I was hurt. And that sounds simple, but it's not easy when you've been taught to suppress your feelings and just trust God. So I had to give myself permission to feel, the anger, the sadness, and the loss.
Well, I guess what everyone's probably wondering right now then, Dan, is what helped you move forward?
Well, for me, it was a mix of things. And I'm 57 now, so, this has been a lifelong journey. Therapy was a huge part of it, especially with someone who understands RTS. I also turned to Zen philosophy. I actually had my big breakthrough in psychedelic therapy, on ketamine therapy, practicing mindfulness, to really just help me see the patterns and to let go of the shame.
Okay, so then what's been the biggest breakthrough for you?
I guess realizing that I don't need to justify my existence, For so long I felt like I had to earn love, I had to earn peace, because in the church, let's face it, love is conditional. You have to act a certain way. You have to be a certain way to get the love. Now I'm learning to just be.
Okay. So before we wrap up, let's leave our listeners with a question. What would your life look like if you let go of the guilt and the fear tied to your past beliefs?
Yeah, now that's a powerful thought. Healing isn't about forgetting. It's about reclaiming your future. And if you're listening to this and feeling stuck, just know you are not alone, and it's never too late to find peace. I'm pushing 60 and I'm just now getting there.
And we'd love to hear from you, our listeners, to share your story, your questions, or even the first step you've taken toward healing.
And remember, healing is messy. It really is, but it's worth it. And you deserve joy, not because you've earned it, but because you're human.
So thank you for joining us today. Join us next time when we will be discussing, oh my God, we got a long list here to follow. We will be discussing the effective communication and listening skills.
Yes.
So that's something a lot of us really need to practice on, is effective communication and listening.
And even if you think you're a good listener and communicator, it's always good to really brush up on those skills, because you can always be better at it.
It is,
sure.
and sometimes it's good on how to tune out.
Sometimes it is. Absolutely.
So until next time, everyone, take care of yourselves and peace out.